you change your adhikar by having the intermediate goals. You are going step by step. And I already said before that, to be very clear about the ultimate goal, we have to have certain adhikar. We may have some understanding of the ultimate goal, of the highest possible goal, but to be really enthused by the highest possible goal, we need to have certain adhikar. Therefore, I said that this point of having totally, completely overwhelming love of God may not be relevant to us, not because it's not a relevant goal, but because we don't have the proper adhikar for it. We are not yet ready to really have this goal as such. And therefore, it's very important to know how it goes. You achieve a goal, and this goal becomes your adhikar. You achieve the new goal, and this goal becomes your new adhikar. And in this way, you are progressively following the path. So the next point which I want to say to you, or to describe, about the purification of the heart. Because again, the purification of the heart is the topic of our seminar. So, and again, this is a little. I'm on a little shaky ground, so please forgive me if you find this somewhat questionable, but still I would say that it makes sense. At least it makes sense for me, and I wanted to share it with you. As I said, the general adhikar, or general qualification for bhakti is what? Faith, shraddha. But as I also said, that if we take this ladder of bhakti, the ladder of devotional service, which is described in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Srila Rupa Goswami, then basically each step in this ladder can become the adhikar. It becomes the adhikar for the next step, right? In the beginning we have shraddha. Then the next point is what? Sadhu Sangha. And I would say that, of course, in the beginning our adhikar is shraddha, but the most important adhikar which we have as devotees is sadhu sangha. Prabhupada said this on a number of occasions. Sometimes devotees would ask him, quoting this famous verse from the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by Devahuti, what is our qualification, Srila Prabhupada? Because Devahuti says that Yad Jihvagre, from the tip of your tongue, the holy name is dancing. It means that you already passed all the Vedic yagyas and all the things like this, And devotees, they wanted to hear from Srila Prabhupada some confirmation, you already passed through it. You already beyond it. And Prabhupada said, you have zero qualification. Zero qualification. I am your qualification. Prabhupada said that because you are associating with me, you have some qualification. So what I want to say now, that actually we need shraddha in the very beginning, but then the next most important qualification which all of us have is the society of devotees, is ISKCON. Srila Prabhupada used to say that if somebody thinks that he can progress on the path of bhakti outside of the society of devotees, he's a lunatic. He's insane. And he specifically says you have to be in the association of devotees to progress. And if you are on the stage, let's say we get some faith, and by having some faith, we associating with devotees, and we see some nice devotees who have some purity of the heart, then what would be our goal? What is the goal which is relevant from the very beginning? What I would suggest here, and this is important I would suggest that the goal which is relevant from the very beginning is the purification of the heart. And this is exactly what Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Jaiva Dharma. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in Jaiva Dharma that in the beginning, when you chant the holy name, your goal, which is not compromising with the purity of chanting, but still the goal of purification of the heart may seem somewhat material. You just purify your heart. It's not that high goal, that is so much high spiritual goal. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur specifically says that in the beginning, when you chant the holy name, then the goal, which is not compromising with the purity of chanting, but still achievable and relevant, is the purification of the heart. So what I want to introduce now, that in my humble opinion, we can consider this ladder of bhakti in a certain way. If our qualification or adhikar is sadhu sangha, and if our prayojana, and this is adhikar, and if our prayojana is anartha nivriti, or purification from anarthas in the heart, then our sadhana will be what? Bhajana kriya. And we know Bhajana kriya means sadhana. But Bhajana kriya in the association of devotees, in the society of devotees, when together with the devotees we chant and hear and think and worship the deities together with the devotees in a proper framework. So what I want to say is that in the very beginning, this anartha nivriti is the proper goal. When we get this understanding, then this is something which we can relate to very easily. We can understand that if my heart is little more pure from this anarthas, from kama, krodha, lobha, mada, matsarya, moha, I will become little more happier. The problem with this anartha nivriti, why it is such a difficult process and why it is such a painful process sometimes, is that all the anarthas which we have, and please raise your hands who have some anarthas still in the heart. Yeah, I think it's unanimous. So the problem of the anarthas is that we subconsciously think that they are not anarthas, that they are actually arthas, that they are something valuable, because they give us some advantage. What is anartha? Anartha is nothing but a device to adjust to the atmosphere of this world. To exist in this world, you need some anarthas. Without anarthas, it's very difficult to exist, even in ISKCON. If you don't have, how you will survive if you don't have any pride or any, and people, to get some little extra lust, they pay a lot of money, because this is something which is very valuable. You know, it's a normal thing. You know, all what we think as an artist is for normal people is artha. You know, you tell people right there on the street that you have, you know, to get Krishna you have to get rid of lust. You know, and they will just spit on you. Or you tell them that they don't need anger. You know, who doesn't need anger? Everyone needs anger in this world. You know, like what I mean to say is that subconsciously we hold through these anarthas. We don't want to leave them. Like this famous story about Ashtavakra Muni, who was showing this. You know, he was holding the column and saying, "Leave me, leave me, leave me, leave me." And he said, "You're crazy." You know, he said, "No, I'm not crazy. You're crazy." You know, so and then there is a beautiful story. We sometimes may not understand that we are holding these anarthas very tightly. That in our subconsciousness we really value them, and we think that this is something which we need. So there is a beautiful story which I first heard from Ravindra Swarup Prabhu. He quoted Saint Augustine. In his confession, Saint Augustine says, "When I was a young boy, I was very sincerely praying to the Lord, oh, my dear Lord, please, 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 help me take my lust away." And then very hastily I would say, "But not now." You know, take it away, but little later. So we may not be on the level, even of this level of introspection, to understand that I don't need this, but at least theoretically we understand, even from the beginning, that we need to purify the heart. And basically the first part of our presentation was about this, that at least theoretically we have to understand, I have to have clean heart. If I want to lead others, I have to purify my heart. And we have to know very well the process. The process is to do sadhana in the association of devotees, not alone. Not to be isolated somewhere. And that's exactly what Anuttam Prabhu was saying. Anuttam Prabhu was saying the other day on the plenary in his presentation, then if there is some sign of isolation, it basically shows that something is wrong, that somebody doesn't really want to purify the heart. So one of the conditions of purification of the heart is that you value the association of devotees. You're with the devotees, you're serving the devotees, and you sincerely want to purify the heart. And this is the, as Prabhupada used to say, automatic process. If you are in the association of devotees, the heart will be purified, 100%. There is no doubt about it. But then, as I said, Anartha Nivriti is not the ultimate goal. Anartha Nivriti is the intermediate goal, important intermediate goal, which we will have to place ourselves. And then, as I said, that when we achieve the intermediate goal, when we achieve the Anartha Nivriti, then Anartha Nivriti will become what? Adhikar. And then when we achieved, when the heart is somewhat purified from the grossest kinds of offenses or anarthas, not offenses. Offenses is the last thing which leaves the heart, but from some gross anarthas which are there, gross material desire, then what will be our next intermediate goal? Ruchi. To confirm this, it's interesting because we know that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada was very emphatic about this Anartha Nivriti. He was not going higher. He was very conservative as far as this highest realms of devotion are concerned, and he was always stressing this point: Anartha Nivriti, Anartha Nivriti, Anartha Nivriti. You know, there is a famous lecture which people who have somewhat sahajic tendencies. And we know that he is Rupanuga Virudha Siddhanta Dvanta Harine, the one who destroyed the darkness of this Rupanuga Virudha Apasiddhanta. So the people, even among his followers, the people who have little sahajic tendencies, they like to quote very much one of his lectures which he gave on Radhakund. He said, okay, fine, for 20 years we have been trying to achieve anartha nivriti. Now is the time to achieve artha pravriti. In other words, to pravriti, artha pravriti. Now it's the point to talk about something higher. Something higher means here taste. Anartha nivriti. So that's exactly what he says. He says, first you achieve anartha nivriti, then you put the next goal, and the next goal will become ruchi or taste, spiritual taste. This is artha pravriti. In the beginning, it is very important to talk a lot and to give a lot of stress to this negative thing, purification of the heart, understanding what anarthas are, what is there, what is happening within our heart, introspection, this and that. But then, when your heart is somewhat purified, and this is the position of the leader, then your next goal will become, which is relevant in this case, because if in the beginning you start talking about the spiritual taste, I've seen how it sometimes, I've seen some people are talking about spiritual taste. There is some artificiality in it. So, but I want to ask you, what will be the sadhana for this anartha nivriti if the goal is ruchi? Huh? Nishtha, yes. You can ask me how nishtha, which is stability or stable faith, can become sadhana. In my humble opinion, it's very simple. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he explains that what is nishtha. Nishtha means Trinada Pisu Nichinata Rora Pisa Hishnuna Amani Namanadana Kirtaniya Sadahari. And all these things, humility, tolerance, patience, respect, and the absence of desire to be respected by others can become sadhana. What I want to say is that, in the beginning stages, our clear goal, relevant goal is anartha nivriti. When we achieve this goal, then our goal or our process, our goal is ruchi, our process is humility. What I want to say here also, and I think this is somewhat important, we like to stress the humility from the very beginning. Kirtaniya Sadahari, we say about this, but what I want to say also is that in the very beginning, the humility cannot be practiced properly. Because even to practice humility, to have humility as a sadhana, you need to have some adhikar, some qualification. In the beginning, when we try to practice humility, when some people, I've seen, if you tell something really strongly, be humble, be humble, be humble, for 15 minutes after the lectures, people may become really humble, and how they become humble, they just look in a very strange way, I'm very humble, What I want to say is that in the beginning, we don't have adhikar to practice humility. And Prabhupada was very much aware about it. Sometimes Prabhupada, not sometimes, many times, I would say most of the times, Prabhupada would encourage not really humility, but something opposite to the humility. He would say, just do it. He would encourage something which may seem to be as an ambition, and it was an ambition. Why Prabhupada was doing it? Because he knew that if you tell them from the very beginning, be humble. If from the very beginning you tell somebody who is little ambitious to become humble, what he will do? Zero. And ultimately he will be frustrated. So what I want to say is that, this progression of the purification of the heart in the beginning, you may sometime encourage people to do something in the society of devotees, together with other devotees, so that some gross dirt within the heart would be cleansed through this process. From the very beginning, you don't encourage, and I think, and I see it, especially in the, when you counsel some devotees or whatever, sometimes it's necessary to stress not humility. We have to stress humility all the time, that's true. But sometimes, it's also necessary to stress some other things. Basically, what I want to say is that in the beginning we have to stress that you have to remain in the society of devotees. You have to be part of a group, Bhakti Vriksha, or counseling system, or whatever. This is, and within this framework you do chant and speak and hear about Krishna, and this is the stress in the beginning. But then, at one point, when somebody is somewhat purified, then definitely there should be stress. Trinadapi sunichinata arorapi sahishnu namani namanadana kirtaniya sadahari. And my next point, which I wanted to make, and then, you will be able to do it. You will be able to really practice it because you have the adhikar. Anartha nivriti is adhikar. So, what I would say that anartha nivriti is the adhikar for a leader. To be a leader, and I proved it, I tried to prove it before in the beginning when I said, if you want to be a leader, anartha nivriti is the adhikar. You basically have to pass this stage. You have to have this adhikar already, to function as a leader. Otherwise, you will be dysfunctional. Your leading ability will be greatly, how you say it, greatly, you will be disabled, or you will be greatly disempowered, or whatever, to act as a leader if you're not. So, as a leader, this is the process. As a leader, you have to have some purity of the heart. You have to practice humility as your sadhana, as your daily sadhana. Bow down, really, you have to practice patience or tolerance as a sadhana, and as a leader you have plenty of opportunities to practice tolerance. It's a very advantageous position to be a leader, because people will always criticize you. It's a very nice thing, and you have to practice respect. This is the practice. This is the daily practice of the leader. It's a sadhana of a leader. Trinadapi sunichinata arorapi sahishnu namani namanadana kirtaniya sadahari. And then you will achieve taste. And then next, after the taste, there will be ruchi. And then bhava will be the real goal. And then asakti will be your practice. And then, good luck. You're there. No problem. You're, from there, it's a very smooth path. These things are a little more difficult, especially in the beginning. Just one more little thing which I wanted to say. What we are supposed to do if we are not on this level. Like after the class which I gave today, Bhagavatam class, some devotees came to me and said, who will want to become a leader after such a class? Who will step into these muddy waters and to take these great responsibilities, this and that, So please understand me right. First of all, I don't want to discourage you by saying all these things. I don't want to discourage you from being a leader. Just because of the mere fact that, simple fact that every one of us is already a leader and we can't avoid it. We already leader. Being in this world, we are leader for somebody, it may be a leader for our little family or little this group, little Bhakti Vriksha or whatever. We will always be. So we can't avoid responsibility. And moreover, if we avoid this responsibility of taking this, we are effectively slowing down our progress. To take more and more responsibility is the sure way to achieve the goal and to become really empowered by the service. So we have to take responsibility. We shouldn't be afraid. But my question to you, which I wanted to deal very shortly because my time is over, what do we do if we are not yet on the stage of anartha nivriti? If the gross anarthas are still there, but we're still playing the role of a leader? As I said, it's an adhikar to be a leader. That's the only adhikar. The practice is to be humble. And we have seen in our society, we have seen leaders who perhaps were powerful leaders, but perhaps were not completely free from some gross anarthas. And therefore they were not practicing exactly the humility. They were rather on this stage, and because of the isolation which unfortunately was there, they didn't purify the hearts through this process, because they have chosen to be somewhat isolated on this first stages of development, and not really properly practice bhajana kriya in the association of devotees. So my understanding is that even if we are in such a position, even if we are already playing a role of a leader without being sufficiently qualified, then still there is something very important which we can do. And still fit to this position and be ultimately achieve the success. I don't have unfortunately time to say too much about this, but what I want to say is the point which is there in Bhajan Rahasya of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Dvitiya Sadhana, or second sadhana, which is basically the elaboration of Bhaktivinoda Thakur meditation on the second verse of Shakshashtakam. Nam namakari bahudani jasarva shakti statrapita niyamita smaranena kal durdaiva medrishameha janina nuraga. So he's speaking about this anartha nivriti stage. He's talking about how to get rid of anarthas, and he is quoting so many different verses from the scriptures to elaborate this point. What does it mean to purify the heart? What one should do to achieve this purity of the heart? What is there? What is the process? And I noticed an interesting thing while thinking about this, because it's somewhat mysterious book. Bhajan Rahasya is not an easy book, it's not just easy reading, some entertainment. It's a very deep. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is revealing his heart. So, in this chapter of Bhajan Rahasya, he quotes 2 verses from Manak Shiksha of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. Only 2 verses. In Manak Shiksha of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, there are 5 verses progressively describing different anarthas, starting from impediments. starting with the external impediments, which is there, Sadvarta Veshi, Visrija, Mati Sarvasva Haranich, just give up all this idle talks and everything. Then the next thing is that internal impediments like lust and greed and which is there within the heart, and he says this is like dacoits which are pulling you down into this well of material existence. And then, there is 5 verses which describe progressive stages of purifying from anarthas. Bhaktivinoda Thakur speaks about 2 only of them. Out of 5, he only mentions 2 in a reverse order. He mentions only 6th and 7th verse of Manak Shiksha, and first he mentions 6th verse. And that's about it. He basically doesn't speak much about other anarthas, but he mentions first this 7th verse, and this 7th verse says that what is this? Pratistasha drishta svapachara mani me hridina tet. In my heart there is this obnoxious lady, Ramani. Ramani means prostitute. And she's drishta, she's really obnoxious. She's shameless. Pratistasha drishta svapacharamani, and she's dog-eating lady. Nice, very attractive svapacharamani. What is this lady? And she's dancing within my heart in a very seductive way. What is this lady who is dancing in my heart? Pratishta Asha, the desire for fame, name, glory, respect. And he said, Katham sadhu prema sprishati shuchiratan nanumanaha. How the very pure sadhu prema, the very pure prema will touch my heart. Suchiratan nanumanaha. If the heart is so contaminated, if this lady is just, doing her boogie woogie or whatever it is, Bharatnatyam. If she's doing this Bharatnatyam within my heart. So he says, Katham sadhu premas prishati suchiritam nanumanaha, on my mind. But then he says he gives the solution for this. And we know this is the last anartha, the last thing which leaves the heart. The desire for prestige, the desire for honor, desire for respect. It's a very difficult thing, Sanatana Goswami in Hari Bhakti Vilas says it's everything else may leave your heart, but this desire for prestige will still be there. Pratishta Asha, very ardent desire. And Raghunath Das Goswami gives a very and then he says this lady has a lover, boyfriend. And this boyfriend, and they're together in the heart. She's not alone. She's never alone. She has some very passionate lover, and this lover is kapata kutinati, the deceitfulness, hypocrisy within our heart. When we pretend being something which we are not simple, this and that. Basically, and he says, Sadatvam Sivasva Prabudayata Samanta Matulam. If you want to get rid of this lady, Yathatvam Nishkashyatwaritam Ihatam Veshayati Saha. If you want to really kick her out, get rid of her, Yathatvam Nishkashyatwaritam, Nishkashya, drive her away, then there is one thing which we have to do. Sada, always. Tvam sevasva prabudayata samanta matulam. Please always serve. Sadatvam sevasva. Sadatvam, you, O mind. Sadatvam sevasva prabudayata samanta matulam. Please serve to those devotees who are very dear to Prabhu, to Lord Krishna. Prabudayata samanta matulam. Those people who are impeccably pure within the heart. If you want to basically get rid of all the anarthas, if you want to achieve this stage, then there is a solution. Serve, in our case, serve Srila Prabhupada, serve his pure followers, serve this glorious mission. And how to serve this? Sada, always. Always serve this glorious mission. Sadatam Tvam Sevasva Prabodayata Samantam Atulam. And Yadhatam Nishkasya Tvaritam. This lady will be very quickly driven away with all other anarthas, and Ihatam Veshayati Saha. The pure love of God will enter your heart and will leave your heart, will be in the throne of your heart. So that's the advice. We, as a leader, we have to. Yes, I'm finishing. We have to serve always in this capacity, not because we want respect, not because we want to achieve something, but why do we do this? Why are we leaders? Because this is the opportunity to serve. We want to serve, we're serving this, and then this goal of anartha nivriti and the higher goal, intermediate goal, will be achieved. So just being very much established in this position of a servant of Srila Prabhupada and his society, we can achieve this goal by performing this very important service of being a leader in this society. Thank you very much. We don't have time, so Srila Prabhupada ki